I'm Jennifer Zhu, and I like science because I get to learn about the phenomenons in the world we live in, and it allows me to understand where things come from. Also, science is never ending because we will always continue to learn and discover something new.
Hi, I'm Sydney Reston, and I'm in the IB Sports Science class. I like science because it allows me to come to conclusions on everyday questions and connect it with everyday living. It also gives me a clear understanding on how certain things work in the environment we live in.
Hi everyone, I'm Wissam Shihab, and I like science because it's very interesting how it impacts our society and the world around us. When I do science, I try to connect it to the world around me and try to notice how it applies in different aspects of life. By doing so, I broaden my knowledge of the greater world around me, and I get to learn and understand lots of concepts in class.
Radiation is the release of energy that is emitted in particles or waves. It can be low level, like microwaves, or high level, like X rays. And there's a natural amount of radiation around us. Sunshine is an example of radiation that we see every day. In space, there are cosmic rays, which are high-energy particles. In the atmosphere, there is radon gas and some of its decay products. Elements such as uranium and radioactive isotopes of common substances such as potassium and carbon are natural radioactive materials which can be found in the ground. Elements in the periodic table have a specific number of protons and neutrons, but sometimes there will be too many or too little neutrons. Then the atom would be unstable or radioactive. This is known as a radioisotope. The radioisotope wants to be stable, so it releases energy until it's back to its balanced state. This is known as radioactive decay. There are three types of radioactive decay: alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha particles are heavy, so they only travel about an inch. And since it's so big, it's easy to stop and not as harmful because it wouldn't be able to go through a layer of dead skin cells or cloth. Beta particles are smaller, so they travel a bit more than alpha particles, about a meter. It can go through the skin, so for example, a sunburn, but it wouldn't do much damage because it can't go very far. Water and plastic could stop beta particles. Gamma radiation comes in waves, so it travels the farthest. It can go more than 100 meters.
What can it be used for? It can be used for X-rays, and that is a high-energy photon beam, which is by far the most common form of radiation used for cancer treatment. It is the same type of radiation that is used in X-ray machines and comes from a radioactive source such as cobalt, cesium, or a machine called a linear accelerator, LINAC for short. Photon beams of energy affect the cells along their path as they go through the body to get to the cancer, pass through the cancer, and then exit the body. Radiation can also help with chemotherapy. Radiation therapy uses special equipment to send high doses of radiation to the cancer cells, and then the cells in the body grow and divide to form new cells, which then causes cancer cells to grow and divide faster than many of normal cells around them, and radiation works by making small breaks in the DNA cells inside.
For those physics people, the amount of radiation absorbed by non-biological matter is measured in grays, a unit equivalent to a joule of energy per kilogram of mass. For biological tissue, a dose equivalent is measured in sieverts, or SV, depending on the type of radiation involved, and how much damage that radiation does to particular cells affected. So some examples of radiation disasters are Fukushima, Nagasaki, and Chernobyl, all which impacted their societies greatly and had a lot of different health effects which I will discuss. There are two main health effects caused by radiation, which act over the short and long term and also at shorter and greater distances. Radiation causes health problems by killing cells in the body, and the amount and type of damage done depends on the dose of radiation received and the time over which the dose is spread out. The dose limits for emergency workers in the event of a nuclear accident are 100 millisieverts, if protecting property, or 250 millisieverts in a life-saving operation. Between the upper limit and 1 sievert received within a single day, exposure is likely to cause some symptoms of radiation poisoning, which are pretty bad or detrimental to your body in many ways, such as nausea and damage to organs, including bone marrow and the lymph nodes. Up to 3 sieverts with these same effects are more serious, with the likelihood of acquiring infections due to a reduced number of white blood cells in the body. With treatment, survival is probable, but not guaranteed. A larger dose will, in addition to those symptoms above, cause hemorrhaging, sterility, and skin to peel off. An untreated dose of more than 3.5 sieverts will be fatal, and death is expected even with treatments for doses of more than 6 sieverts. Okay, so this is our concept map. To give you know a little brief introduction here, we started off with radiation, which is what we chose as our topic. Then we went into types of radiation, such as alpha particles, beta particles, gamma particles. Another thing being natural radiation, such as radon gas and elements such as uranium. Then we had what it was used for, practical uses such as chemotherapy, sports science, and X-rays, and then how it impacts or affects environment, people, / society. Radiation disasters that we've seen in society and health problems. So that's kind of how we centered our whole concept map around.